Welcome to Barcelona. As a cradle of modernism, Barcelona is one of the most colorful cities in Europe. And for the New York Philharmonic, this is the starting point of their Europe Tour 2010. The New York Philharmonic was founded in 1842 and is one of the world's leading orchestras. In the 2009-2010 season, the New York Philharmonic began performing under its first New York-born music director, Alan Gilbert.
Alan started coming to us as a guest conductor about 8 years ago, and each time he appeared with us, it was so perfectly good in terms of his abilities, his personality, his intelligence, that he just grew to be natural with the Philharmonic and the musicians and the board and the public. And when the time came to name a music director, we of course did a normal search process, but his name kept coming out on top.
Well, Alan is a very young music director. In fact, he's the first music director who is younger than I am. And I think he brings energy and new, fresh ideas to the orchestra.
What I hope to do with the New York Philharmonic is find our way with each individual composer, with each individual piece even. But maybe even more importantly, although of course the music making is the most important, I'm hoping to build a relationship in the city of New York with the audiences that we serve. That's obviously where we play most of our concerts, and to create something that really means something for our audience is incredibly important for me. We're on tour now, and this expands our audience, and it's a longer term prospect, and we don't have the opportunity to connect in the same intense way. But I also, on a different level, hope to achieve the same thing with our international audiences, because we are an orchestra of the world, and I think of ourselves as a kind of representative of what can be wonderful in the United States on a musical level.
The opening concert of their first European tour was held in the Palau de la Música Catalana, which was built in 1908 and is the only concert hall in Europe illuminated by daylight.
Bé, cada vegada que l'Orquestra Filharmònica de Nova York ha vingut a Barcelona, ha creat una gran expectació en el públic. Per al Palau, evidentment, és un honor poder-la tenir aquí un altre cop.
As the exclusive global sponsor of the New York Philharmonic, Credit Suisse supports the orchestra on tour.
Look, if you don't have a sponsor, you don't have the financial wherewithal to plan tours and to be able to show what we can do, because touring is extremely expensive. And if we can find a sponsor that is committing for some years ahead, that enables us to plan properly, because we know we have the financing instead of doing it a year out or 2 years out. And that's important.
One challenge is to move both people and instruments from one city to the next within 24 hours.
Our group is usually about 140 to 145 people. And then we have a cargo, all the trunks and instruments. They have a completely separate needs and logistics, and they mostly travel completely separately. It's harder to find people specialize in these things and who understands how they have to be treated. So we have to find the right person, and we also, even with the right person, we always have to keep track and make sure they're doing the right thing at the right time. So not only we have to handle them very carefully, but they have to be on time. We're always under time pressure as well.
The instruments are sensitive to temperature changes. To reduce travel time, they are collected after the concert, transported to the next concert hall, and immediately rearranged. This can be difficult for some musicians.
Especially as a timpanist, I can only access the drums when I'm at the hall where they are located. On tour, they're packed away in cases, and I don't get to see them until an hour before rehearsal or a concert. So I just have to trust. And since we have a great crew, and I know them very well, and we get along, I don't feel afraid at all. I trust them.
For us to play in Europe is a great experience. The fact that we play in the great city of the world, I think, it helps expose our artistry to not only New York City, but the great centers of music everywhere. And I think it's important for every great orchestra to play on tour, and it helps stimulate our artistry. And it's not just business as usual, like we do at home. So I think the traveling is also very stimulating, being in these different places.
When touring in Europe, the Philharmonic prefers to travel by train.
I love traveling by train because we can sit and enjoy the outside, beautiful nature, and look around and see small towns and forests and whatnot that we can see in the window, and you feel like you're part of life. And you know, on the plane, I don't feel the same.
What else is special about touring in Europe?
Europe is the downtown of music. This is where it all started, and so to come and play in the major cities where the compositions were created, it's like coming home.
The Europe Winter 2010 tour continues through Spain and then on to Switzerland, Germany, France, and the UK.
I really am trying with my programs to say something very special when we play in New York, and we wanted to have the same approach to our touring programs. So playing music of Haydn and Berg and Schubert and our own wonderful American composer John Adams, as well as Rachmaninoff Symphony and Sibelius Symphony. I mean, it's an incredible variety, and I think it's the opportunity for the orchestra really to show what it can do.